Hello, language learners, and welcome back to Speaking English Language School. It's week 5 of our B2 English adventure. Last week, we explored how to talk about future travel plans. This week, we're diving into communication skills that are crucial for the B2 level, expressing opinions, agreeing, disagreeing politely, and speculating or thinking about situations when you don't have all the facts. We'll focus on special modal verbs to help us do this effectively. Sometimes we don't know something for sure, but we can make logical guesses or deductions based on evidence or lack of evidence. We use modal verbs for this. Let's look at speculating about the present first. Some of these modal verbs in the present that we'll look at are must be, might, could, maybe, and can't be. The first modal we're going to look at is must be. And we use this when we're almost certain based on evidence. So let's say 90 to 100% sure. This is when we would use this modal. For example, Sarah hasn't eaten all day. She must be hungry. This is a logical conclusion of Sarah not having eaten all day. The next example, he drives a Ferrari. He must be rich. We're assuming this. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but based on evidence, he must be rich. Our third example, she got a promotion. She must be happy. Again, this is a strong assumption because she just got a promotion at work. The next set of modals are for when you're 30 to 70% sure, so that kind of middle spot. And we use 3 of them almost interchangeably. Might be, could be, maybe. Again, you use these when you think something is possible, but you're not sure. Okay, so these are all used in the same way. Let's look at the examples. Where's John? He might be in the meeting. Next one. This could be the solution to our problem. And our third example. She may be late because of the traffic. Again, these are all possibilities. You're sort of in the middle. You're not positive, but you're not uncertain either. Our last modal in the present tense is one that shows impossibility or you're certain something is not true. And this modal is can't be. This is 90 to 100% impossible. And we don't usually use mustn't be for this. So some people use the word mustn't, M-U-S-T-N apostrophe T, but we don't typically use this. We say can't be. For example, you just had lunch. You can't be hungry already. It's a logical impossibility because you just ate. Or, that can't be the answer. It doesn't make sense. And again, it's a logical impossibility. You're almost certain it is not true. We just looked at modals having to do with present speculation. So thinking about actions that are currently happening in the present tense. Now let's look at the past. And to speculate about things that happened or didn't happen in the past, we use the modal plus have plus the past participle. Some of these modals are must have, might, could, may have, can't, couldn't have. And we're going to look at example sentences. We're returning to that word must, except now we're speculating about the past. And we're 90 to 100% certain an event happened in the past. For example, the ground is wet. It must have rained last night. This is a logical deduction about the past that you're mostly very certain about. Another example, she looks really happy. She must have passed her exam. So notice we have must plus have plus the past participle. Here we have might, could, and may again and again. This time we're talking about the past. And we're 30 to 70% sure about an event that happened in the past. Let's look at some of our examples. Why is David absent? He might have been ill. Or, I can't find my keys. I could have left them at the office. Or, they may have decided not to come. And again, we use might, could, and may fairly interchangeably in the same way. And now you've made it to our last modal for this lesson, which is impossibility or certainty that something wasn't true, but in the past. So we have can't have or couldn't have plus the past participle. Here, you're certain something didn't happen. For example, he can't have finished the project already. He only started yesterday. So this is something that seems impossible to have happened. Or she couldn't have known about the surprise party. We were very careful. So we believe it was impossible for her to know about the party. Mastering all of these modals will help you sound so much more nuanced when you're not 100% sure. Sharing your view and responding to others is key in discussions. Knowing modals will help you sound a lot more nuanced, but you also need some useful phrases to set up those modals. Here on the screen, I have many useful phrases for expressing opinions, agreeing, and disagreeing politely. I recommend pausing the screen and writing these down in your notebook or taking a screenshot. But here's a little example of how a conversation might go. Person A: in my opinion, public transport should be free. Person B: I see your points, but I'm not sure how the city would pay for it. I want you to practice using different phrases, especially for polite disagreement, because these are the hardest. Let's listen to two friends speculating about why their favorite cafe is unexpectedly closed today. While you listen, notice the modals and opinion phrases. Also, try to listen for the answers to these questions. What reasons did they speculate about? Which modals showed possibility? And which showed impossibility? Don't worry, we're going to take a look at the transcript, but just try to listen first. Oh no, look, it's closed. That's strange. They're usually open on Saturdays. You're right. They could have had some kind of emergency, maybe a plumbing issue. That could be it, or perhaps the owner might have decided to take a vacation. He looked tired last week. Possibly, but I feel that he would have put up a sign if it were planned. It can't have been a planned closure, in my opinion. That's true. Usually he's very organized. Well, whatever the reason, we can't get coffee here today. Where else should we go? Hopefully throughout you are able to hear the answers to these questions. If not, pause the video and return and listen again. But the answer to number 1 is he could have had a plumbing issue or decided to take a vacation. Number 2, our modals of possibility are could have had, could be, or might have decided. And our modal of impossibility, number 3, is can't have been. Here's the transcript for the conversation you just heard. Let's analyze some of the modals a bit closer. We have could have had, could be, and might have decided, all as our modals of possibility. We have can't have been, which shows certainty that something wasn't true. They also use phrases to share their opinion. For example, I feel that, and in my opinion. Can you pause and find those in the transcript? It's now your turn to speak. Look at these situations and speculate using modals. Then give a brief opinion on just one of the topics. Here are the 3 situations. Your colleague arrives an hour late for work, looking stressed. Why? Give 2 possible reasons using past modals. The next situation. You see someone on the street wearing a heavy coat on a hot sunny day. Why is that? Use must be or can't be. And the third one is a topic. Working from home versus working in the office. What's your opinion? And for this one, you can mix in modals, but also phrases of opinion that we learned. For example, in my view, personally, or I think. Pause now and practice speculating and giving opinions. Make sure to record yourself in order to go back and listen to what you have said. Great work. You're almost an expert at speculation. But in order to solidify our learning, let's write. Choose one of these topics and write a short comment in the description giving your opinion. You can also choose a different topic of your own choosing. Try to include a modal of speculation. This might lead to, or people must feel, and also use phrases of opinion as well. Let's take a look at my example. I chose social media for my topic for my example. So I write, in my opinion, social media connects people globally, which is great. However, it seems to me that it can also be quite addictive. People might spend too much time comparing their lives to others, which could lead to unhappiness. We must be mindful of how we use it. Pause now and write your comments below. Practice expressing your thoughts clearly. If you need to go back to look at some of the topics, feel free to rewind the video. Great work today. We've learned how to speculate about present and past situations using modals of deduction, must be, might have been, can't be, etc., and practice useful phrases for giving opinions, agreeing, and disagreeing politely. These are essential skills for engaging in discussions at the B2 level. Next week is week 6, which means it's our first review and consolidation session. We'll review key grammar and vocabulary from all of weeks 1 through 5. Thank you so much for joining me here at Speaking English Language School. I hope you feel more confident expressing yourself and making educated guesses in English. If you found this lesson helpful, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so you don't miss any lesson in our B2 English language adventure. What's your opinion on learning grammar explicitly like this? Let me know in the comments. Keep practicing, stay curious, and I'll see you next week for our first review. Bye.